There's the audience, 6 of them, the required amount. Okay, today I'm going to speak a few words about a man that died in May by the name of Ronnie James Dio. He was born Ronald James Padovano on July 10th, 1942 in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and he grew up in upstate New York. And at the age of 15, in 1957, he actually started becoming a professional musician, performing in several rockabilly and doo-wop bands. And he started getting more of a hard rock sound in the late 60s when he formed the Electric Elves, who shortened their name to Elf. And they became an opening act for Deep Purple. In 1975, Ritchie Blackmore quit Deep Purple, and he basically took Elf, kicked the lead guitarist out because he was the lead guitarist, and formed Rainbow. Rainbow is one of the more influential hard rock acts for hard rock and heavy metal there is. And Dio was in Rainbow until 1979, until he was fired by Ritchie Blackmore because of creative differences. Dio always wrote more songs about magic or evil or spirits or whatever, and Ritchie Blackmore wanted to go in a more commercial direction. Well, in 1979, a band that you might have heard of called Black Sabbath fired a guy you might have heard named Ozzy Osbourne, and Ronnie James Dio entered Black Sabbath. He was in Black Sabbath for two albums and a live album. And in 1982, he was fired from Black Sabbath for an argument over mixing the live album. But after that, he formed his own band. This is Ronnie James Dio right here. As you can see, this is Elf, as I mentioned. This is Rainbow. That's him. That's him. And this is him with Black Sabbath. He's one of the most influential people ever when it comes to hard rock and heavy metal. He didn't invent it, but he popularized what's called the sign. I'm sure everybody's seen that in a movie or at a concert or something. You can see he's doing that right there. People call it the devil horns. It doesn't actually mean that. It's called the evil eye. It's an old superstitious thing. It's supposed to ward off bad luck or evil spirits or something like that. And he's one of the most liked people in his genre. There's hardly anybody that has a bad word to say about Ronnie James Dio. In fact, at the age of 67, a month before he died, he won Revolver Magazine's 2010 Heavy Metal Singer of the Year at the age of 67, a senior citizen no less. An example of what a kind person he was, in 1985, around the time when We Are the World was popular, were benefits for starving people in Africa, Dio noticed that there was very little to speak of when it came to hard rock or heavy metal musicians that were involved in that. So he came up with his answer called Hearing Aid. And that raised $1 million within the first year for Africa. So he was a very, very kind person. I'd like to read a couple of quotes from some metal media when he died. This is from Eddie Trunk, a DJ and TV host. Ronnie was one of the most classiest, most sincere, real people you could ever know. Sometimes it's hard to find nice things to say about people when they pass. Not Ronnie. I could go on forever with stories, and so could anyone else that had the honor to call him friend. I have memories to last a lifetime that I will cherish forever. And this is from Rob Sheffield, a writer for Rolling Stone. It wasn't just his mighty pipes that made him Ronnie James Dio. It was his moral fervor. What stood out was Dio's raging compassion for the lost rock and roll children in his audience. Dio never pretended to be one of the kids. He sang as an adult, assuring us that we weren't alone in our suffering, and someday we might even be proud of conquering it. Ronnie James Dio is the only celebrity I can think of. When I heard that he died, I was actually depressed and bummed out. I can't think of anybody else that died where it actually affected me. He died on May 16th of stomach cancer, and he will be missed, and I'm just glad that I was able to be a fan at all. Thank you. Yeah, you don't gotta scan it again. There's 6 people. I don't think anybody walked out. I'm gonna show you my prop quick. Just try to show it. It's just a picture of some bands he was in. Okay, thank you very much.